I am Johnny Scoville, and this is Chase the Heat, South America. This is going to be a fun one. The morning videos I do are sort of just to be a positive, something positive to hang on to. So much in society that is so negative. And they, negative sells. They're not. If you watch, grab a newspaper. They don't have them anymore, but just watch TV, watch the news. They don't post. They don't show the positive because negative sells. So this is going to be an interesting one. Let me ask you this. By the way, if you're watching, give me a 5x5 if you can. Tell me if the sound is okay. Tell me if you can see me, if the picture is clear. Hey, Katie, knock it off. Hey, knock it off. You know what? Please don't do this to me today. Huh? All right. You know what? Like a naughty child. Okay, let's see here. There you go, Roberta. Hope you understood my email. I have some packages that have been sent. There you go, Barbara. Thank you. And it's the first time something's been sent to us. So once it arrives, you know what? Hang on a second. Keep it up. I'm going to spray you with this. Knock it off. You hear me? I'm not fooling. Cut it out. Roberta, I have some stuff that's being sent to me, and it's the first time. It's the first time anything's been sent to me. So once it arrives, I'll be a little bit more confident in the address, and I'll get you that. I know, Lisa, you're awesome. Barbara, I'm so glad you're here. All right, let's pull the okie doke on the algorithm if you guys can. Hit the like, and maybe they'll spread it out to more people. Let me ask you this. I have notes here that I prepared, so I glance over. I'm not quite the speaker that my brother is, so I appreciate your understanding. Can anybody tell me what coins, antique furniture, there are probably more examples that I'm not talking about, but coins, antique furniture, vintage guitars, old watches, leather jackets. Do you know what they all have in common? It's interesting. What they have in common is that the minute you polish them, their value's gone. Marty Mongoose. My cat's my best friend, but she pushes my buttons. Coins, for instance, the minute you buff or clean a rare coin, it's no longer collectible. The value is not in the shine. It's in the age and the journey of authenticity. Jane, Dale, so good to see you guys. Antique furniture, if you refinish an old table, the value's gone. Each scratch tells a story, and that's the truth of it. Now, I'm a guitarist. Musicians pay more for beat up vintage guitars. In fact, it's such a thing now that there are companies that do something called relicking. Robert Pops, good morning. They do. Oh my gosh, we'll definitely interrupt the stream for this. Hello, Mr. Johnny. To give you some happy news, I have my new granddaughter in my lap watching your video. She's only 5.5 weeks old. Wow, she's a future subscriber. Robert Pop Springs. Robert Grandpops Springs. How exciting is that? Is there anything quite like holding a baby? My goodness. Thank you for sharing that. So they relic guitars. You can take a guitar, send it to a company. When it comes back, it looks like it was from 1960. It's true. Watches. Oh, I should have brought my Omega. I have a really beautiful Omega. It's in great shape, but if you polish it up and clean it up, the value's gone. In fact, a collector will walk away the minute they see that. True story. So so here's the dilemma. How do there's beauty in patina. I don't know how good I asked for a 5x5 so you can tell me the picture. If I got real close, you'd see scars, places where I had stitches, and So here's the dilemma. How do we keep the patina and kind of ignore society? Because society their idea of beauty is different than ours. They want you to shine and be polished. How do we keep the patina, but on the inside, be brand new? Robert Pop Springs has a 5.5 week old baby. Little kids, they're always laughing and smiling most of the time. You know why? Everything they see is brand new. It's exciting, right? And when you get to I'm 59. My age, so little of what we see is brand new. What happens is we sort of lose the zest for life. Sad, but it kind of happens. So what I'm going to talk about today is how to keep that, how to stay new inside. I said I took some notes. Society wants everything polished, but some things lose their worth the minute you shine off the struggle. You follow me? Okay, so let me give you these are some little tips about how to stay brand new. This is kind of poignant for me right now because I moved to a different country. Everything is novelty. I walk outside, even though we've been here a little over a month, I walk outside, everything is new. I'm seeing things, it's just incredible. And as a result, what's happened is that's dopamine. And I think my brain is like 15 years younger now than it was when I arrived. Archie's mom, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. So let's talk about it. How can we stay young? How can we remain new? Okay. Before I do, I want to tell you a funny story. When I was in college, I worked at a bank, the Chittenden Bank in Vermont, Burlington, Vermont, in fact. So one day I was working. I was a teller. I think they call them teller's a dirty word now. It's kind of like saying a stewardess. It's a flight attendant now. I think it's a customer service person, but I was a teller at the time. And this kid came in and he had a sack full of coins. Some of them were rolled up, he had a ton of coins. And he came to my window and all of these coins, I knew right away something was up. All of these coins. Tommy Bird, thank you for being here. Archie's mom, look at that. Thank you for saying that. I look and sound like I'm in my prime. You know what? I wouldn't go back and do it over again if it was too painful. The older I get, the happier I get. I swear it's the truth. Tommy Bird, good morning, dude. So good to see you. So this kid turns over all these coins, and immediately there was an issue. I looked through them, and there were old coins, really old ones. As I said, some were rolled up, nickels, pennies, the whole 9 yards. A lot of $50. I got the value, and I gave him the money. He wanted to trade it in for cash. The problem is he had taken the time to polish. It must have taken him a long time, or somebody did. I kind of assumed it was him because he was a young guy. They were all polished, and the value was gone. Now, I had a really good manager at the time. She said, "Give me," she put him aside. She goes, a father or grandfather is going to be in here at some point today, looking for his money. And he didn't come in that day. It was a few days later, but he was panicking. He's like, "I'm looking for," bummer, right? He got his coins back, but their value was shot. So here's how we can stay young on the inside and be brand new, which is a challenge. I promise you it is. But here we go. Number one, try to stay curious. All right. Curiosity is the opposite of jaded. That's how I see it anyway. I said how kids are always smiling. You know why? They don't know what's around the corner, right? They have no idea. But 59, I know what's around the corner. At least I think I do, right? And that's a problem. So what we need to do is try. It's hard. Stay curious. Try something new. You do something new you've never done. Paint a picture. Do something. Taste something you've never tasted. If you're going home, take a different route. Little things can make a difference. Because what happens is, as I said, curiosity is the opposite of jaded. And I think curiosity sort of reboots our soul. And I could be wrong in all this, guys. I really could be, but that's my take. That's what I think is going on. Archie's mom, I feel better and happier in myself now as a 43-year-old than I was when I was 23. You've made some spectacular changes recently. So that's, Tommy and I were talking about it. He's like, my goodness, we're proud of you. And it's wonderful. And you know what? It's funny. The big changes I've made in my life, those changes were done, a lot of things seemed brand new because I was doing things different, with a different mindset, a different state that I was in. So that's kind of neat. Number two, you guys, is be present, but don't be predicting. And that's the problem, because as we get older, we sort of operate from a place of memory, you know what I mean, or anticipation. Like, it's interesting. As we get older, where's the newness? Where's the novelty? It disappears. You know what I mean? Really good point. Look at this. It's the little things that really matter in life, not the superficial stuff. You know, it's funny when you get older, you know, yeah. When I was younger, I thought the best things in life were things. And I remember the day where I was like, holy crap, they're not things. The best things in life are not stuff you can purchase, you know? If you want freshness, you got to land where your feet are. You know, breathe, touch, listen, but be where you are. You know, I mean, it's a difficult thing to do too. Living from memory, you know, we think we've done it all, and a lot of times you sort of have, but we haven't. Be where you are and live in the moment. We talk a lot about like dogs; they don't really have a concept of tomorrow at all. Really don't know. They have sort of a memory, but they don't remember everything from yesterday. So they really live in the moment, and we need to do that because we don't. Too often, I wish my life away. I can't wait for. I can't wait for. I can't wait for. Now I'm 59. What happened? Number three, create. Okay, create. Don't just consume. That's a hard thing to do. Creation is like rebirth. You know, make something. Do journal. Make a journal entry. Cook something. Draw something. You know, watch something you have, like a video you've never seen before. What happens is when you create something, something begins to stir in us. Because what happens is when you create something, you become the source and not the sponge. Because as we get older, you know, we stop creating. You know, it's sad, but that's what happens. You know, nothing you should feel bad about. It's the human experience. So it's something that we all do. The next one is let go of the idea that I've arrived. That's an important one. The second the second we think we've got life figured out, you're in trouble. If you think you've got it all figured out, you know what ends up happening? Life becomes stale. You know what I mean? And I'm so guilty of all this stuff. I mean, this stuff is me. It may not be you, but this stuff is all Johnny. I'm not kidding. Stephen Marshall, good to see you, man. Try to remain a student. I have a friend. I think she's addicted to being a student. She's a doctor, a psychologist. She's been in college since 1985. She's constantly in school. She doesn't ever stop. And I think that probably keeps her young, you know. We're all water and vibrations, just like the earth. Yeah, the earth is really old, you know, and we got to stop, you know. That's a big one. To me, a big one, you've arrived the second, you know, don't let life be stale. You know, I'm wicked guilty of this one. I've arrived. I've actually said to people, like my son, I've done it all. There's very little in life I haven't done. It's a horrible way to look at things. And that's one of the areas where I'm the most guilty of it. Right there, Katie is in the basket. She's either destroying stuff or sleeping. I think she's going to sleep. That would be so good. This is an interesting one. Try to reclaim that sense of awe. Like being here, it's helped a lot. I think a lot of why I'm even talking about this is because moving to Ecuador, a different country, has absolutely had an enormous impact on me as far as, you know, reclaiming awe, being brand new. It's just insane. I live by the ocean. Everything's different. I couldn't have, you know, 15 years ago, I couldn't have even imagined living here. Try to, you know, if you look for a miracle, you can find it. About a week ago, 2 weeks ago, Tommy was doing a stream, sitting here, and I looked out the window, and it was kind of an overcast day. It was earlier, and I mean, there was a column of light coming through. Like it was incredibly bright, and everything else was dark. And in the center of that light was a boat. I was like, holy mackerel. I stopped what I was doing. I took my phone out and took a videotape of it. I was like, how often do you see this? You know what happened? Just a few days ago, I'm looking out. It is again. I couldn't believe it. And something occurred to me. It probably happens all the time. We just don't look for it. If you look for beauty, you're going to find it. If you look for new, you're going to find it. If you stop looking for it, you won't see it. Stephen says, the only thing I've ever been good at are cars and plants. I struggle with everything else. I got news for you, bro. You and I are in the same boat. Not the sense that we are good at the same things, but I certainly struggle with a lot of stuff. And you know what? I would challenge you. I would bet you money that if I were to hang out with you for a weekend, you're good at a lot more things than just cars and plants. You know what I mean? I'm sure of it. Good to see you, Jesse O. Man, good to see you. Brock Bandy. Can I tell you something about Brock Bandy? I don't know if I'm Johnny Bandy or if he's Brock Scoville. He's my brother, and you're always on time. If you're still at practice, don't even sweat it. Stop looking at this. Honestly, we got this. But if you can hang, that's awesome. That's a good man right there, Brock Bandy. So reclaim awe. Try to do that. You know, it's interesting. When's the last time you got – and again, I'm talking to me. Caroline, good to see you. Thanks for being here. When's the last time you saw a sunset? See those pretty frequently. When's the last time you saw a sunrise? I see them a lot now. I get up around 4 or 5 in the morning. I was up at 5 this morning, and I don't actually see the sun rise because it's in a different spot. I can't see it, but I sure see the sunset. But I am here for morning. It's an interesting thing. I think that there's gratitude in awe. If you can somehow find the awe in things, there's gratitude in that. Like that, it sounds so simple and really silly, actually. But when I saw the first time I saw that column of light, I was like, wow, so cool that I got to see that. Then I saw it again. You know, it was amazing. And now I'm looking for it everywhere. If you look for new, I swear to you, you're going to find it. If you don't, you won't. You know, it's interesting. All right, this is an interesting one. Keep one foot in the fire. Look at this. Hi, Josh Cohen family. I love the sun rising when the sky is red. It's amazing. You know, it's beautiful. It's like God's canvas, God's paintbrush. You know, you and Tommy get up way too early. I know Brock works the midnight shift. You know, he's like my dad was. He's at his kids' football practices. My dad was the kind of guy, he never missed a game. He didn't miss a practice. He was just a stellar dude. You're that same father, Brock. Natalie Strasser, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Okay, keep one foot in the fire. What happens is life gets routine. When life gets very routine, we start to drift. We get away from what's important. We stop challenging ourselves, I think. Again, this is all my take. When I talk about this, these are things I'm struggling with. But I got to believe that, you know, part of the human condition. Either I'm a weirdo, which I could be. I've been told that before. Or, you know, maybe some people are sharing things that I'm experiencing. But when we drift, you know, that's when it's because we've gotten too used to everything. The burn keeps you alive, whether it's, you know, like I'm here studying Spanish. Man, it's done a lot to help me. Every day I'm trying to learn something that I don't know. I think this is helpful for me. Sometimes just facing an emotional thing that you've kind of avoided, because I've got stuff in my head that I don't want to think about. Those are the things I need to think about. Tommy Bird, mornings are good. I can't sleep past 7 or 7:30 no matter what. You know, it's funny you say that. Remember when you were a kid? I don't know if you guys can relate to this. When I was a kid, I could sleep till noon. I kid you not. Now, I get up at 4 or 5 o'clock. It's never like, man, it's time to get up. I fly out of bed. One of the things is our bodies produce serotonin. Not serotonin. Yeah, is it serotonin? Excuse me, melatonin. In fact, they have pills for melatonin because as we get older, our body produces less of it. It's the truth. And that's why a lot of people that are older sleep. My dad, he didn't sleep much towards the end of his life. And that's why they make melatonin so we can supplement it and kind of give what our body isn't producing as much anymore. Caroline says, yes, I'm stuck in a rut routine. Hang on. I can't. Give me 1 second, Jesse. I'll get to that in a second. I pushed the wrong button. I'm stuck in a rut routine. It makes my brain overthink stuff, and that's not important. You know, here's the thing. We're all in the same boat together. You know what I mean? And so this is maybe a good one for you. I think we're all stuck in a new routine. And it became really clear to me when we got here because everything was brand new. And I'm telling you, it was like I couldn't wait to get up. You know, a walk, just going out for a walk was incredible because novelty. When you're young, novelty is the name of the game. Every experience you have is new. But you get to a thing where, yeah, I've done that. Yeah, I've done that. Yeah, I've done that. That's why I jump out of an airplane and eat, peppers on the way down. It's novelty. We start looking for things, you know what I mean? But seriously, it doesn't need to be jumping out of a plane eating peppers. It can be just, some people haven't journaled. Just journaling can be novelty if you haven't done it before. Jesse O, I had a tough moment earlier. I took a nap and woke to see this stream. Perfect title to come listen to some wisdom. I'll tell you what, I hope that there's a little bit of wisdom here. You know what? Thank you, Jesse, for that. I'm trying to figure me out. That's the truth. I'm trying to figure me out and try to get, improve what I am. But again, I think that either I'm a weirdo or that we're kind of the human condition. Hola, Caroline. Me llamo Johnny Scoville. Yes, chase the heat, South America. My Spanish is horrible, but I would tell you, I have two friends that work at Super Maxi. Eric and Victoria. And Victoria, she's probably just stroking my ego to make me feel good, so I stay on track. But she says my pronunciation is great, and her pronunciation is fantastic with English. If you look into sound and water vibration effects, it's very it's true. Sound. Have you ever seen? I saw a thing with a speaker, and they drop sand or on a speaker, and the way the speaker moves into geometric shapes. There's a lot we got to look into. But sound and water vibration effects. Very interesting. The Masaru Emoto does a great experiment. I'm going to look into that. In fact, let me take a picture of that comment. That's what I do. I take pictures of comments. And afterwards, I'll look at my pictures and go look at that. Steven says, I firmly believe as I get older that every single one of us is a weirdo. Ha! It's a good thing that we all learn and share experiences. You know what? I've said this before, but you love your family because they're your family. I love my friends because of the chips and the scars and you know what I mean? The imperfections. It's the truth. That's why I love you guys. I'm happy you guys are here. Sandy, Wendy, thank you for being here. If you got here just now, Robert Pop Springs is holding a 5.5-week-old baby right now. My granddaughter gave me a new look on life. It was my two boys and still is my two boys, but now my granddaughter is too. Wow. It's exciting to hold. You know what? You can't hold a new baby and not feel a sense of awe and holy moly, look at this. It's amazing. You were once that little. You know that? You were. Look at that. Caroline. Stephen. Hello, fellow weirdo. We go, Tommy. Sometimes the only way to get out of a rut is to ride it out. Try to yank out of it, it might flip over. Yeah, that's a fact. I also think that if you're going through something, there's a reason you're going through it. Look for the lesson in it because there's lessons in everything. Like failure, a mistake. Failure isn't really a failure if you learn from it. The only failure is the one that you experience that you don't walk away with something new, Like animals, an animal will never stumble over the same stone twice. If a horse is on a path and stumbles over it, he'll never do that again. But we're not animals. We're a lot smarter, but guess what? I've been stumbling over the same stones my whole life. I'm trying to avoid that, get out of that bad habit. Okay, bueno, Johnny. Sandy Wendy. Max Power, 78, good to see you. I went abroad a few months ago, and I was such a different person there. Now I struggle being back home. Usual day-to-day. Yeah. You know why? When you're on vacation in a different place, it was novelty. It was brand new. Being weird is hard, but it allows you to do things and go outside of the box. Norms many people are stuck in their whole life. Yeah. Agreed. All right. Here's Shelton. Good to see you. I'm thinking about trying a scheme to bring empty cans. I knew there was some sort of Seinfeld thing there. You got to do it. Here's the thing. You got to do it on a big holiday like Mother's Day. Give that a shot. If you haven't seen that, please watch it. Seinfeld. It's a great show. Let me see here. Babies just make everybody smile. Yeah. You know what? Animals don't hold grudges. Cats do. I think cats can. Squirrel gets mad at Tommy for the littlest things, and she will punish him for a week. When we got here, just the trip, she gave him the business for, I'm not kidding. Look at him and walk the other way. She's a funny cat, man. She's so jealous. Sometimes we're looking for one of them. Like we want to make sure the cats didn't get somehow sneak out of it somehow. And when we can't find Squirrel, do you know how we find Squirrel if we need her? Tommy will say, "Oh, Katie, you're such a good girl." And 2 seconds later, Squirrel will fly around the corner because she's mad that Tommy is giving Squirrel attention. I swear it's the truth. This is a man who gets it. The man, the myth, the chili head. Thank you so much, bro. You're not late. And there are plenty of seats on the bus. And every one of them's got a good view. Thanks for being here, dude. I love the weird people. They're not afraid to be themselves. Yeah, let your freak flag fly, man. For real. Johnny, you just have mad cats. You know what? I have a mad cat and an angry kitten. You know what? Remember the other day I heard she was banging against the wall? I was concerned because I thought she was running and just slid into the wall. I saw her last night and twice today. I got news for you. She's not sliding the wall. She's running, springing up and bouncing off the wall. It's like she's parkouring off the wall in the house. I got to get it on video because it's really, really cool. Natalie, I swear to you, it's true. And then here's the weird thing. I can pet Squirrel. When I pet Squirrel, she looks at Tommy like, look what he's doing to me. I'm not joking. She's almost like, she's more human. It sounds stupid to say, but she's like a jealous woman. It's the truth. Honest to God, it's the funniest thing in the world to see. Crows, look at this. Not true. Crows hold grudges with a person for years. I can believe that. Birds are funny. Tommy and I had birds growing up. We had a macaw, one of the blue chests or blue-winged gold chest macaw, and we had a little Amazon. And one thing about Amazon or birds in general, they are one owner pet. They will pick one person that they gel with, and the rest, look out. Seriously, at least with the ones we had, that was like that. All right, so when you keep going back to what I was saying, we're talking about how to keep things fresh. And the last one was stay in the fire. When you keep the foot in the fire, and what it does is it keeps the edges sharp and the colors vivid. It's kind of interesting. And this is the last one. This is so important. Surround yourself with enthusiasm. You know, like kids, they're so enthusiastic about anything. And part of that is because it's novelty and it's new. So try to be enthusiastic. You know, even with stuff that's routine. Let me tell you, there's so much can be said about enthusiasm. It's really important, I think. But these are the things that I'm struggling with. Anytime you hear me talk about stuff, because this is what's going on with me. And, you know, it may not be going on with you. I've told this before, but I ran a phone room for a dating service, and they promoted me to I was a regional dude. I had like a whole bunch of offices that I oversaw. And when the second the guy put me in that position, he said to me, remember this, if it's happening in one of your offices, if there's a problem that's happening in one of your offices, it's happening in all of them. And I remember thinking about that. Like there's an issue with leads or people squabbling or problems with member relations, all the different things we had. If it was happening in one office, I swear to you it was happening in all of them. What are you doing? Strange cat. Look at that. It's funny how seagulls here always appear at dinner time. You know what's really weird, Caroline? There are no dating sites. There are no seagulls here. There are seabirds. There's a lot of pelicans, some gulls, but not like the typical seagull that we see. Phone dating site. No, Caroline, you know what it was? It wasn't one of those online dating sites like Match.com or anything like that. It was an old-fashioned matchmaking service. True story. So the way it worked is people would go online or with a piece of paper, a flyer, or something, and they would fill it out, and they would either send it in back in the old days. No seagulls at the beach. It's really strange. Or they would go online. They'd say, "Are you single?" And they'd fill out a thing because they don't want to be single anymore. We would get that, and they were then telemarketers. They would input this into a computer, and it would pop on the screen. And the telemarketing room that I ran would call the people up and take them through a little phone, like a survey. They would set the appointment. What they would do, they asked them a series of questions to make sure they were qualified. You don't have any felonies, you have a job, you have a car, you got a credit card, because it was expensive. And they would come in, and once they came in, they would sit down with somebody who would explain how the matchmaking service worked. I don't know how much Match.com costs. Our service, when I started, it was like $1,500 for the cheapest package, and I think the most expensive when I started was like $3,700. At the end, the cheapest package was $3,500 or something in that area, and the most expensive was like, I don't know, it was $5 or $6 grand. It was crazy. It was very expensive. I didn't do any of the matching. I was a director of a bunch of offices, so that was the only thing that I never did. I started off when they hired me. I was like just a telemarketer, and I was really good. But you know what made that thing work? Enthusiasm. If you call and you're just reading something, it's never going to work. But if you call and you were excited, it would jump through the phone at them, and they were excited. It's a fact. So it was a fun job, but it was brutal. I learned a lot about people in that, because I did everything but the matching. So I did the sales part for a long time. And when you do the sales part, 90% of the whole interview wasn't talking about the matching. It was talking about your experience. It's like pain and rescue. If you're sick, I can fix it. We would remind them all the things that weren't going well and how this can fix it. And there were a lot of people that fell in love and got married, but what I learned is this: for a decade, I did the whole job for about almost 20 years, a long time. But for about a decade of it, I listened to women tell me why they left their husbands. Yeah. And I listened to men tell me why their wives left them. I know. So I think that's, I'm single right now. Well, I'd make a hell of a partner because I know you guys all want to listen and hear what the problem is. I can give you a little nugget of knowledge here. Here's what happens. Before I do, let me tell you this. Thank you, Caroline, for saying that. I have a crow that comes to my garden every day for a feed, and if nothing out of it for it, it sits on the wall and squeals for me. Birds are very, very cool. Let me tell you, look at this. I did the wrong kind of telemarketing, but I got a friend who met his wife on that. Listen, I did some very ratchet telemarketing over the years. We'd call people, and someday I'll do a video about that. I've done every kind of telemarketing you could imagine. But here's how to be a little nugget. When a man finds a woman and it clicks and he's excited and they fall in love, that woman is the only thing in the world that matters. And he showers her with affection and he puts on a full court press, his A game. And here's what happens. He sets the hook. They get to the point where they walk across the aisle and the ring goes on the finger. The minute that happens, he's like, I did it. I won. I got it. And he stops pursuing the woman. And that's it. You can never stop pursuing the woman you're with. Never. When I was married to my kid's mom, date night every single week. For the 5 years we were married, we had date night. And we picked a different restaurant. The first year, we picked a different restaurant. The second year, we just had different things we do. And it's important. That kept it fresh. But the minute you stop doing that, the woman stops feeling desired and pursued. Now, there was a lot of cheating and everything else, that reason that people broke up. That was one of the biggest reasons. And I paid attention. I enjoy being single, says Caroline. You know what? I do too. In fact, it's funny. I watch people in relationships. I see train wrecks, and I think to myself, I'm glad I'm single. Worked for CDG. I don't know what that is. I've done some really shady telemarketing, man. You ever see the police thing? They call you for the Fallen Brotherhood, raising money for. I worked for the DPSOA, Department of Public Safety Association, all these different police organizations, and you donate money, and they send you these little things like a seal. You're a supporter, and people buy those. They donate money because they think that if they get pulled over and they see that sticker in the back that they support the police, that's going to help them. You want a little? It doesn't help at all. In fact, it's going to do the opposite because they know that you bought that for that reason. It doesn't help you. Kathy, good to see you. Thank you for being here, dude. Tommy Bird's been married almost 15 years now. That's fantastic. I was married to my kid's mom for 13 years of marriage and a total of 15 years. Archie's mom says, when the right person comes along, Johnny, you will know it. The lady will be very lucky to have such a good man. You know what? Here's the thing. You're very sweet, Archie's mom. I am sort of like, I try not to be. I try to show you my flaws and all the things that are wrong with me because I want to be straight and forthright, and that's kind of how I am. But people show you their best foot. You don't see me at my worst, because when it is hitting the fan, I don't go, hey, let's go live. Push that button. Let them see me now. You know what I mean? So you kind of see the best of me. You know what I mean? Listen, if you took every woman that I've ever been with and got them in a room and said, tell me about Johnny, boy, I'll tell you what, they wouldn't say, boy, he's great people skills and he's a positive guy. They say, got a minute? And pull out notes. In June of 1989, I mean, trust me, people take you for granted. That's what happens. It really is. I'm guilty of it. I'm divorced. Look at that, though. There she is. Kristen Melinda, thank you for being here. Did you believe all that you were selling? Did I believe all you were selling? No, I did for a while. I had to convince myself that I believed it. I had to convince myself that I believed it. But the day that I realized that it was bad, that I was like, I can't do this anymore. It was good to leave that company. Civic Development Group. They did. Wow. Well, here's the thing. The service I worked for, after a short period of time, they changed their name after they changed it 4 or 5 times. It was crazy. Dan Young, good to see you. Marriage is a lot of work. Here's the thing, and every once in a while you'll meet, this is my experience. I have found, like in my life, I have found the perfect woman. Literally, like, now there's no perfect person. This one was perfect for me in every way you can possibly imagine. Prettiest woman I ever saw. Every single time I looked at her, she became prettier. No joke. But there were things that, loved her like no other. Still believe it could happen, It's interesting. When you fall in love and it's the right person, there isn't a flaw. It's perfection. It's a beautiful feeling to have, It gives you a bounce in your step. There's a little smile like you got a secret. You know what I mean? You look forward to every connection. Interesting thing. Marriage with kids is more work than marriage itself. Hello, you got that right. You sure do. Archie's mom, that's the same for everyone, Johnny. We all have flaws. It's about recognizing them. I try to, because I want to fix them, But you fall in love with the right person, they don't have one. It's a cool feeling. Anybody ever have that? It's interesting. You guys know, like a love story. I think most people think that a love story is boy meets girl, boy falls in love with a girl, boy leaves a girl, or girl leaves boy. They find each other and happy ever after. That's not what a love story is. If you ever look at Hollywood, the actual definition of a Hollywood love story is when 2 people fall in love and it's perfection and they desperately need to be together, but they can't be. That is a love story. I have been there. Yes, love is great. I just choose to not have a partner. My ex and father of my kids work better as friends. I can tell you this. My kid's mom, we'll never be friends. I don't really want to be her friend, but we are absolutely very, very civil to each other. Far better. And here's a weird thing. It was like a light switch. When she met her now husband, they've been together for 20 years. There was such a profound change in her. It was amazing. So here's the thing with me. Maybe one of these days, the barriers will be gone and that can happen. It'd be pretty spectacular if it did. Tom, okay, Archie's mom says that Tommy said that no one will love you more than you love yourself, which I thought was a brilliant statement. I struggle with that. I have a hard time loving myself, just being honest with you. Caroline, you seem sad when you talk about a love story. Big hug. No, here's the thing. I'd rather have that than not have it. There's beauty in it. Like, I want to tell you something right now. I'm the happiest guy you'll ever meet. True story. Bouncing my step. So don't feel bad for me. I'm not joking. Look around you. There's 8.5 billion people on the planet. I'm the luckiest, and I'm not fooling you. Definitely don't feel bad for me. In fact, man, it's a lucky dude, that Johnny Silva. You are loved. Yeah, you bet. I know I am. Thank you for saying that, Caroline. I'm a very lucky guy. No, that's not a joke. My wife definitely loves me more than I love myself. You know, here's the thing. I'm very good at forgiving other people. I'm not really so good at forgiving myself. You know, I'm working on it, though. The fact that I can see it and I know it's an issue, you know, so I'm working on it. Dane says that times have changed. My grandma sent my grandfather to World War I. She stayed faithful and was with him when he took his last breath. They didn't give up at the first signs of trouble. It's pretty cool. It's a beautiful thing. Archie's mom, Holly, weird propaganda. Life isn't a movie or a fairy tale. It's a journey. Please love yourself. I see the light. You know, I'm trying. I'm working. I don't hate myself. There have been times where I absolutely loathed myself. It's the truth. But there are some very, very incredible things happening in my life. I don't want anyone to feel bad for me. Listen to me. I am being serious. I'm the luckiest guy walking around right now. I don't believe in luck, so it's a fortune thing, because everything that's happening to me is happening for a reason. I don't want anyone to feel bad for me. I feel like I got a lottery ticket in my pocket that I won. It's a winning ticket. Just can't quite cash it in yet. That's where I'm at in my life. True story. Sometimes I can't go to sleep because I'm so excited. That's not a lie. You are a happy camper, Johnny. Never change. If I had more money, I'd buy it. Don't listen. Please do me a favor, Marty. That is awfully kind of you. Everything works out. Honestly, I have faith. I really do. I have a buttload of it. Yes, Archie's mom. We're all on the journey. We are. You know, and yeah, here's the thing. Sometimes this is what happens. If somebody's with somebody, you got a partner, and you see somebody who doesn't, you're like, oh, what a bummer. You think something's missing in that person. You know what I mean? I don't have a woman beside me. That doesn't mean I don't have a woman. She's just not beside me. You know, it's that sort of a thing. That love story thing. Tommy Bird, Hollywood stars fallen. Yeah, you know what? Stars fallen, stars in the pavement. I saw what you said in Tommy's. That was pretty spectacular. It was pretty cool. That hit me. It's pretty interesting. Recognizing your mistakes is the first step. Learn to forgive, learn, use it to improve yourself. I'm trying. I'm trying. You know, I'm working on it. Here we go. I won't look. I was hurt too badly. I know a lot of my flaws, not all. I'm still trying to find out who I am at 66. I got news for you, sister. I'm right there with you. You know, here's the thing. I think we've all been hurt. My hurt was different than your hurt. I don't know what your hurt felt like. I know what mine did, but just keep smiling. I know when I work at the dating service, I used to tell people when you're not looking for it, it'll happen. You know, that's when it happens. I wasn't looking for it. Interesting thing. That whole thing about Hollywood stars, Tommy says. Isn't that interesting? Like, there were stars, angels in heaven, and they fell from heaven. We call them stars here. I don't know. Here's the thing. We put too much value on like people in Hollywood, you know. It's been an interesting week. We've had a bunch of people depart from us, you know. It's kind of interesting. Good morning, Jonathan. Thank you for being here. There she is. Chris and Melinda, the next client is here. Got to go. Catch you all on the replay. Much love. Hit the like button. It's free. It's Kristen Melinda. Dan Young, to be human is to be the conscious observer. We are the universe experiencing itself through the eyes of the conscious observer. But sunset doesn't critique itself. That's pretty profound, Dan Young. It really is. There, it's interesting. Nobody has all the answers. You know what I mean? That when the student's ready, the teacher appears. We're always a student or a teacher. You may be a teacher, you don't even realize it. I pick on Tommy. I call him a guru. The dude's a guru. I'm not even fooling you, man. But I got to tell you something. Just like the student and teacher, every one of you is a guru. True story. Because it's a student-teacher thing. I promise you, somebody that has crossed your path is saying something that you said affected them profoundly. Tell me that in that moment you weren't a guru. I mean it. I believe that. Hollywood is a fantasy. You know what? I loathe it. I can't stand it. It's so superficial, and like society's going to tell you what's important, tell you what you should strive to be. It's absurd. Jonathan tried a red Savina last night, tore me up. It's a great pepper. I'm really excited to eat more peppers. I am. I just have an absolutely different focus right now. Couldn't be more happy, though. That's not a joke. Tommy Bird, hurt makes our joy all that much more. It's true. If every single day was gorgeous, you'd stop appreciating it. I think that's why there are 4 seasons, depending on where you're at. There's only 2 seasons here, but if every day was perfect, you got to have there's a yin and a yang. Got to have. My mom says that even a kite needs resistance to stay up. We need resistance in our life. We do. It's what it strengthens us. I've told the story. There's biospheres. They're all over the world. You've seen them, big giant balls like moss and plants, and it's a biosphere. They're all over the world. And there was something that was happening in biospheres. They couldn't figure out what it was or what was causing it. You know what it was? Trees were falling down. Trees were falling down. You say to yourself, how is that possible? There's no wind or anything. There's no lightning. How are trees falling down? Precisely, there's no wind. That's what they figured out. Wind is just even though it's so little, the wind. How can the wind there's no wind? As a result, the roots didn't really become roots. They'd fall over. We need that in our lives. Caroline, I've said that before. I don't want to be a guru. You know what? I've said I didn't want to be an influencer. Guess what? I'm an influencer. Like it or not. You are all influencers. And I promise you, Caroline, you said things. You have said things that I've been like, wow. I'm going to go back and watch. I don't watch me because I can't stand it, but I'm going to read the comments after this is over. I promise you, things you've typed were profound. So you might have some guru in you. Caroline, Hollywood is more than a nightmare. It really is. It's horrific. And not that it teaches people that what's important, flashy cars, having money. It's not what matters. I saw a great quote by Jim Carrey. You know what he said? I just wish that everybody in their life at some point could be rich and famous for 15 minutes, just so they could realize that life isn't about being rich and famous. Let me tell you something. I did not start this channel to be rich and famous. I'm neither of them. You know what I mean? But I can tell you this. I'm not famous. However, like in the chili world, which is this big, I'm kind of famous. Everybody knows me in the chili world. And as small as what I think we're doing is, if you knew how many times I've been walking around with Tommy and somebody recognizes me or him, it's not so fun. I don't mean that I'm happy with the things that have happened, but it's it's not so fun. Hollywood, in my opinion, is Sodom and Gomorrah. I think it's worse. Sorry. I agree with you 100%. Here's a good one. Tommy Bird, the best argument I heard about God's existence was pretend you know half of everything in the universe, making you smarter than anyone. Could God exist in the other half? My thing is this. Maybe another time I'll get into my thing. It's interesting, you know. What is important to you? You know, you in a rut? Because I am. And the way you get out of a rut, be brand new. Dane says, one of the great tragedies in life is that you will never know how you have impacted someone's life, said Terence McKenna. You never know what role you played in someone's movie of life. I'll get into it, Josh says. Here's the thing. I've had people, it's weird. Someone in yesterday's, you know, it happens all the time, tells me how that I've helped them with something. I eat peppers. But if anything I can do can help somebody, that's a beautiful thing, you know? So I've affected people in ways that are unbelievable. And I'm in a lucky spot where people tell me. A lot of times you'll affect somebody. Tommy tells a great story about it. He was in prison and this guy came up to him. He was sitting next to a dude. This guy came up and said, "You changed my life." I was, you know, what you said to me was the most amazing thing. And I'm a different person because of it. And I just, you know, I wanted to let you know that. Dude got up and walked away. And the guy said to my brother, "What was that?" My brother goes, "I don't even know who that guy is." You never know. That's why what Caroline said, you can say something. It can be this big, but when the student's ready, the teacher appears. That person that you may have said that thing that was just this big was a desperate student. And that word, just that little phrase you had, made a difference. That's what I mean. We're all students and we're all teachers. You know, we are. The best people I've met in life didn't have a pot to piss in. And the worst people I've met had loads of money in the bank. Well, I'll tell you something, Archie's mom. This is what I've learned, especially about money. If you have a lot of it, all money does is magnify who you are. If you're a jerk and you get rich, you're just a rich jerk. You know what I mean? Like I've watched it happen. I'll just say it with a family member. They were the nicest person in the world. I've watched money change this person in ways you can't imagine. It's a sad thing. I don't want what I don't have. I don't like covet. I don't like the things that I want to aspire. The things that I want aren't material things at all. I swear to you, they're not. I think people, you know, baloney. They're not. They're spiritual. I have a guitar. I got a cat. I got a great roommate. I have a place to live. I don't want a Ferrari. I don't need 6 figures in the bank that would do nothing. You know what? If I had $1 million, it just brings $1 million problems. That's the truth. I don't know. Sure, money doesn't make you happy. Now, money can alleviate some stress, you know, because it can certainly alleviate stress. But if you really work on yourself, there are ways you can alleviate that stress without money. Here, just like she said, some of the greatest people have nothing. I was in Russia, okay, and out in Siberia in February. I'm telling you, it was the coldest I've ever experienced life. We were staying in a home with a family, and they had no electricity at all. I slept with clothes on, blankets. I was still freezing. I had these little these packs that hunters have. You rip them open, you shake it, and you put it in. It stays hot for like 6 hours. I brought a ton of them. I put one at my chest, one by my bathing suit area, and one by my feet, just to stay warm every night. They were the happiest people, the most kind people I've ever encountered. I learned so much being in Russia. You guys can't imagine. Here's something great, and it's really important. Hold on, I pushed the wrong button. I want to always be a student. You'll always be learning. It's so important. That's kind of what I talk about in this. You know, I've arrived. Once you think you've done it all, you stop being a student. You do. You aren't really even a teacher. You're just kind of going through the motions. Try to learn something every day. This is a good one. Money means nothing on your deathbed. It's a fact. Brock, the best teachers are forever students. Take a picture of that one. Wow. Jonathan says, when people say that money is the root of all evil, that's half true. Love, yeah, it's the most misquoted verse in the Bible. It does not say that the money is the root of all evil. It doesn't say that anywhere. It says that the love of money is the root of. Listen, I've looked at that a lot. Have you guys ever heard it's easier for a camel to crawl through the eye of a needle than a rich man to get into heaven? Has anybody heard that? Hi, Caroline, or Cliff Ann, excuse me. Caroline says, I can't stand the cold. Cliff Ann Ferguson, glad you're here. Thank you. I'm having a great day. Thank you. If you've heard the Bible verse that says it's easier for a camel to crawl through an eye of a needle than a rich man get into heaven, please put a 1 in the chat. I'm going to tell you something interesting. Okay, some people that have heard that. All right, that's another. In the Bible days, old towns or whatever, they would have a gate, and the gate had something at the entrance, and the entrance was shaped like this. It was shaped like this. All right. That was like the eye of the needle, and the only way a young camel, could not get into the city gate, into the city, because the only way a camel could get into that would be an older camel that was wise and was trained, and that would have to get on all of its knees and crawl this way. They called that, the entrance to the city was called the Eye of the Needle. You know, the needle was like this and like that. Well, the city gates, they had a big wall, and the gate went like this on the top of it. And that was literally to allow a trained camel to get into the city. There you go. Jonathan knows. That archway was called the Eye of the Needle. So, but people, or the arch, but it's been another misquoted. I remember hearing that, thinking, oh my God, they got rich family members, they're done. Just gotta be trained. Pretty cool quote, but another one that's very, very misunderstood. There you go, Dane. Matthew 29:24. Pretty interesting. So if you kind of got in late, this whole thing was about how staying new. You know, society wants us to be polished, and, you know. Oh, Matthew 19:24. Sorry. Like, I got scars and just, I don't want to be polished. I'm like the old lion with like half an ear ripped off and scars, and got a limp. Some stuff doesn't work. Like, my back doesn't work right. I got all kinds of issues, but I don't want to be different. What I want to be is new on the inside. I want to find joy in things that I used to not find joy in. I want to see things that I didn't used to see. You know, I want to appreciate beauty. Great chat today, Johnny. Thank you, Caroline. Tommy Bird says Proverbs, not sure, but that's where I turn first for biblical wisdom, because Solomon wrote much of the Proverbs when God granted him one wish. He wished for wisdom. It also says in the Bible that the only thing that God will give us every single time we ask for it is wisdom. My grandfather used to say that you could raise a family on Proverbs. You know how many Proverbs there are? 31. Like one every day. He would read the Proverbs every day to his family. One a month. You can do it and he'd start over. But you can raise a family on Proverbs. Is a fantastic book. It's one of my favorite books, actually. I like it a lot. Scars, yeah, you know, here's the thing. Scars tell you that what you went through was real and it happened. Like right here, I had a fight and I got hit. I don't know if you can see it, but man, it split open and it's a big scar. Sometimes you can see it really easily. That's there so that when I shave, I went, yeah, that did happen. So scars remind you that what you walked through, you really did walk through. It's not a memory. You didn't dream it. It's not, it happened. Pain reminds you that you're still alive. So it's kind of how I see things. You guys are pretty awesome. I appreciate you being here. I do. Any last questions before you wrap this thing up? Crazy enough? It's been an hour. I've enjoyed hanging out with you guys today. You guys all provide wisdom. Every one of you is a teacher. I've been a student today. I've learned from. It's funny. I don't like watching me. If I'm in a video with somebody else, I'll watch it because it's fun to watch the other person I'm with. I don't like watching me. I love the comments. Dane says, hang on a second. Dane, why do you think it's uncomfortable for you to receive adoration? Wow. I'm looking into that. It's one of the things I'm working on. I don't know. Like the legend thing. I'll tell you why the legend thing. Well, the reason I don't like being called a legend is because I'm not. Okay, I'm not. That's it. I mean, I'm just being straight with you. I'm not. I have a high tolerance for pain. It doesn't make me a legend. I can eat a lot of peppers. It doesn't make me a legend. You know what I mean? I know a few legends, and that's all. You know what I mean? And I've had. That's honest to God. That's one of the things I'm literally working on. And I've been working on that since the first person said you're a legend, and that was 8 years ago. So it's something that I'm working on because, I don't know if it's something I need to work on. Why? I don't know. Oh, here's another thing. Okay. If I was really comfortable with adoration, it feels like I'm starting to go down the path of I deserve this. And attaboy, I am a legend. Everything they say about me is right. I'd rather jump off that balcony to be that person. You know why? Because I know people that act like that. And it's nauseating to me. Have you ever watched somebody that has a huge ego and they think that they listen to with the press and they start believing what people are saying about them? To me, the second I become comfortable with what people are saying about me, like the positive things people are saying about me, the next step is saying I deserve it. And boy, I am a legend. I don't know. Interesting question, though. Thank you for asking. Live weighing your heart and feathers. Thank you for being here, Archie's mom. I dig you. Thanks for being here, Natalie. I appreciate you. Benny! Good morning, Johnny. I hope you have a great day. I do too. It's going to be a great day. You know why? I'm going to make it a great day. Caroline, you're definitely a pepper legend. Thank you. Brock, you're a legend. Thank you, dude. Dane, I think if you can answer that out, I think you'd be on the right track in my opinion. Don't forget you are a product of God's grace. Amen. Absolutely. Created in our image. Listen, I know here, it's interesting. I know, like, intellectually, I understand. I get that. But applying it is different, I don't know if here's the thing. I've had somebody that's been telling me for years I need to embrace like successes. That's why I have imposter syndrome. I have a hard time embracing success. I'm really good at embracing failure because when I embrace failure, that's when I learn. You know what I mean? So I'm great at embracing failure. Embracing the success thing. It's a hard thing to do. I don't know. It's a hard thing for me to do. Jane, I appreciate you. Thanks, Johnny, in the chat for a great morning. I appreciate you all. Have a wonderful day. Jane is an amazing human being. I really appreciate Jane. Natalie, what if legend means that people will tell stories about you and great things you did? That might mean that. When someone says I'm a great guy, you have to understand that for decades, I was a criminal. Like I did some horrific stuff. You know what I mean? I've changed. I'm a different person, but like I just have a lot of, maybe I'm still feeling the hangover of like being a criminal, So, but I'm trying. I swear to you, I'm trying. I'm trying to do, I'm working on it. It's a process. And I don't know if I'll ever get there, but I won't stop trying, Thank you, Natalie. Jonathan, if you're a legend, you deserve the title no matter how uncomfortable the title is. You've earned it. See, I don't think I'm a legend. I don't. Like, I really do know a couple. Honest to God, I know a few that are legit legends, Thank you, Stephen, for being here. Go do something cool today, everyone. Amen. Archie's mom says, remember to love yourself. That's another thing I've tried. I'm working on that one. I love other people, but I'm working on it. Whether it's about the crazy things you ate or the love you showed the world. Thank you, Natalie. Jane, maybe it's your redemptive arc that is the lesson. I think there's a lot in that. Yep. I do. I think there's a lot in that. I knew you meant love. I got you. Dustin Johnson comes to mind, but I'm not sure. I'm not convinced he's not human. Yeah, he's a strange dude. He's got I've seen him do some stuff that is insane. Like insane. Do you know that? I don't know if you guys saw the "We Are the Champions" thing that I did on Netflix. He was in it, right? And it was the whole thing centered around a big pepper contest, and it was in Fort Mill. And the day of the contest, I don't prep. And I've said this on a big contest. If I'm just doing a challenge where I have to eat something super hot, like a small thing, not Dustin Johnson, the golfer, the chili head. But we were in this. So if I'm prepping for a big contest, I can't eat anything, because if I eat a crouton, that crouton is taking up a little bit of space that a pepper needs to be, so I really can't prep if I'm doing a big contest. Well, the day of this contest, we're in Fort Mill, and I walked into this. It was like a bar, but everybody was like eating lunch and like prepping for this contest. And I think I ate 2 or 3 French fries. I had a sip of some Coca-Cola. I look at Dustin. Dustin's sitting at the end of the table, and he is eating a burger. I mean, a burger with a bunch of fries. I said, dude, what are you doing? Because I'm prepping. I said, prepping? We're going to have to go eat like 100 peppers. Are you kidding me? Not only did he eat that burger, he crushed the contest. He is a savage. He just I see some of these guys. I think there's a guy in Australia who has the record. I think he ate like 164 Carolina Reapers. You know what? When she sleeps, she's so sweet. When she's destroying the house, she's not so sweet. But I think he ate like 164 peppers. I'd have a hard time eating 164 M&Ms. I mean, a pepper. I don't know. I can't eat that much. I can't. I don't understand. I never even attempted to eat as many as I could eat. I never did. I think I ate 30 once. I never even tried. But here's the other thing. I don't really feel the need to keep trying. I don't have anything to prove as far as peppers anymore. I don't think. I mean, if somebody came out with like a new, crazier challenge that was hotter somehow than everything else, I'd probably do it because I would need to. But I've kind of done everything as far as peppers, That's why I jumped out of a plane and ate them. I hadn't done that before, Caroline, eating peppers on an empty stomach surely can't be good for you. No, it's not. But here's the truth of it. I ate 50 against Shahida. She's a different creature, boy. That's a pepper-eating beast. Give you guys some ugly truth about pepper contests. When a pepper contest happens, I don't mean just like you're eating 1 or 2, but if you have a pepper, there's a whole bunch of people at a table and they're eating as many as they possibly can. Do you know what happens after that contest is over? That's Shahina Wasim. That's right above you, Dane. He said you ate 50 going against Shahina. I've competed against her 3 times. 3 times. And each time she beat the bark off of me. She's just a competitive animal. She's just amazing. However, at the end of a contest, there you go. Thank you. I was sitting here thinking, how am I going to say this so it's not, reversal of fortune. At the end of a contest, everybody, they go to a bathroom or a garbage can and they refund all those peppers. If you think for even that long that people eat 50 peppers and then digest them and pass them through their body like they would a hamburger, you're wickedly mistaken. That doesn't happen. Actually, you know what? I shouldn't say that. Shahina Wasim. She is just a different creation. Honest to God. 3 times I've competed against her. I did it once in London. The second time I competed against her was I think it was in San Diego, or I don't remember. I think it was in California. That one I tied with her in that one. We had a tie. It was great. But the third time I competed against her was in 4 times. Third time was in Belgium. She beat the brakes off me in Belgium. And then in the reality show, Super Hot, did it again. It's the 4 times I've competed against her. And the last time, I don't know if you guys saw that reality show that I was in. I tried to get in her head, throw her off her game. At the very beginning, I said, listen, this is after the contest has started. I said, my superpower isn't eating peppers. It's being able to talk while I'm in pain. Your superpower is that I believe she goes somewhere. I don't know how she does it. I compete against her. She's like, I don't know where. I've said to her, "Where are you?" I mean, you're sitting next to me, but where are you? She goes somewhere. I don't know. I don't know how she does it, but she just gets in the zone. And I said to her, I think that takes a lot of concentration. So I'm going to use my superpower to try to prevent you from using yours. So the whole time we're doing it, I'm like, I was talking trash, trying to get her to not be able to concentrate. And it didn't work. She beat me again. And that one, she started her hand. She got Naga claw. They call it Naga claw from the Naga pepper. When you eat, if you have, it happens to me. It happened to me once. You get so much capsaicin in your hands that your hands cramp, and they do this. They just do that. And I don't know how to explain it, but that's what happens. She couldn't pick up a pepper. She couldn't pick them up anymore. So she had somebody feed her the peppers because her hands wouldn't work, and she still beat me. Here's why she's so good. At the end of every contest that I've competed against her, there's a giant plate of peppers, and it's not a matter of eating it. Whoever eats the last pile of peppers the fastest, and she just goes, she just breathes in, and the peppers are gone. She's just fast, and it's eating peppers fast at the beginning is a different animal than eating a bunch of peppers fast at the end. She's just an amazing. She's just different. She's, she's undefeated. She's got unbelievable. Has to be the worst fire hole ever. It is. Because even though you eject the peppers, all that capsaicin is running through your body. And when you pee, it feels, they call it fire hole for a reason. Ugh. But makes sense. Get them out of your body as quick as you can. And here's the problem with that, Caroline. If it's a big contest and a long one, inevitably you're starting to process some of them before you're able to eject them all. So cap cramps are essentially unavoidable. Lisa says, in my opinion, you and Tommy can become legendary because of your love, positivity, and honesty, and living by example. That's awfully kind of you to say. It really is. Tommy's he's amazing. I'm so glad he's my brother. You know what's crazy? He's my baby brother, and he's just, he's amazing. The LA Beast 839, I think, and he was done. I don't remember seeing that, but I have just mad respect for anybody who can put their body through that, because it's painful. We did have one tie. Yeah, we did. We got to I remember, it's funny. That was a weird one too, because usually the crowd's kind of far back. So if something were to happen and I was like to spray, it wouldn't get anybody. These people were sitting right in front of us. And I had this, listen, my body said, all right, Johnny, if you eat one more pepper, I'm puking. I'm going to puke in front of every one of these people. You're on video. It's being filmed. One more pepper, I'm puking. I get this little alarm that says that in my head. I'm like, so I leaned over to her. I said, I'm done. I can't eat another pepper. And people said that we did it on purpose. Like we said, hey, let's tap out at the same time so it's a tie. I did not. We did not. I swear to you, we did not. I did lean over and say, I'm finished. And that was the only time I've seen her say she couldn't do it anymore. I was like, you're kidding. I was so excited that we had a tie. And that's the reason we had the next one in Belgium. It's wicked. Those cap cramps are brutal. They really are, dude. They're wickedly painful. No joke. I'm a guy who's a masochist. I like pain, and that's not one I like at all. Does she chew them? She does, Natalie. She's just, she chews them. She's just fast. And I'm slow. I could never do like the Nathan's hot dog contest. I'm scared of choking to death, and I don't want to choke to death in front of them. When we did it in the first one we did in London, there were 9,000 people like there watching. I didn't want to die in front of them. Now I have like this, I don't know. I have this self-preservation mode that she doesn't seem to have. So I chew slowly. I don't want to choke to death. And I don't know how she does it. She's just very, very interesting. Yep. Fire hole. Bernie P. It's the truth. When my dad died, I cried a lot. My tears burn because there's so much capsaicin in my body. When I cry, the tears come out, and it's hot. Okay, here we go. Primitive Lifeways. I just have a question about Ted Barris. I used to talk to him all the time and gifted him a knife. Is he okay? He just stopped all socials. Yeah, he's okay. Yep. He's a very interesting guy. I've talked to him a number of times. Let me tell you something about Ted, when I first started, I was doing things that very few people were doing. You know, there were people that could eat a lot of peppers, but nobody seemed to like it. You know, I could eat a lot of peppers and still talk. And I was able to eat more peppers. Now, listen, I'm a dime a dozen. I can't even keep up with people now. All right. That's the truth. Thank God I came along when I did, because I couldn't compete now. These guys are better than I am. They can just do more and they're just better. But when I started, I was doing things that were unheard of. They're like, you know, you understand now it's no big deal, but it was a big deal then. So when I first started, Ted Barris called me a fraud. He said that I was faking it somehow or cheating somehow. Rory, Yucky Rory, thank you so much. He said that he kind of went after me big time and said that I was cheating. I'm like, how am I cheating? I don't know. How is that? How do you cheat eating a pepper? Anyway, I did a challenge called this. He did it first, and I got the idea from him. He did a challenge called the Screaming Eagle Challenge, where he ate 23 super hots. And bet, you know, today it's like nothing. Today that's nothing. 164 people can do now. But back then, eating 23 was a huge accomplishment. So I just, oh, Natalie, thank you so much. Thank you so much for doing that, Natalie. Yucky Rory. You guys are all awesome. I really appreciate that. You guys don't realize how much I appreciate that. Can't seem to, there we go. So anyway, I decided I was going to do the Screaming Eagle Challenge, that I would, you know, do the same challenge he did. So I did. I got 23 peppers, but I got 23 chocolate peppers. Chocolate peppers burn differently, my opinion. So anyway, I did that challenge. And after that, he left a comment. If you go back and watch that video, you'll see the comment. I think I may have pinned it. But he left a comment and said, "You're the real deal. You know, I'm sorry." Then he made a video apologizing for the things he said about me. And I'll tell you something. He earned so much respect. I have so much respect for that guy for doing that, because people have a hard time doing that. But he's an interesting guy, you know. He's one of the reasons I started my channel. I swear to you to God, he's one of the real key reasons I started my channel. As much as I was fascinated by him, he would barf in every video almost. And I wanted to make a channel where after you were done watching it, you kind of felt like going and find a pepper and eating it maybe. And I don't think a lot of people were watching these videos go, let's go eat one of those. You know, he was super entertaining, no doubt. No doubt. But he's one of the, if it wasn't a Ted Barris, there wouldn't be a Johnny Scoville. Fact. Josh, does Tommy like you calling his? Yeah, you know, he's my baby. He'll always be my baby brother. I don't think it bothers him. You know, he calls me his big brother, so I don't think he has trouble with it at all. Jonathan, capsaicin actually build in your body and yeah, it's a fact. It's in your body. It's got to come out somehow. It's brutal. Oh no, nothing fraud about eating peppers. You and Ted. Ted's, you know, and thank you. I appreciate you saying that. See, I'm getting better. It's been rumored by a lot that chocolate peppers are the worst. Another great chili head. Everything spicy. He's a great dude. He's on another level. Chocolate peppers are a different thing. You know, it's interesting because there's like 6 or 7 different types of capsaicinoids. Like there's dihydrocapsaicin. There's a lot, and the chocolate peppers have a different type of capsaicin in it, and as a result, I think, like I've had peppers that were only like 700,000 Scoville heat units, which sounds like a lot if jalapeno is only 6,000. But I've eaten peppers that were 700,000 that were way hotter than peppers that were 1.5 million. And you say, how can that be? It's, you know, they burn differently. It's just a different quality of burn altogether. Look at that, Josh. My older brother calls me the same. Yep. You have a metal mouth. Yeah, you know what? I don't have a metal mouth. It's really simple. I like pain. It's a hard thing for some people to wrap their head around. Just last week, I had a person say to me, let's talk about that masochism thing. You know, I didn't talk for a long time. I didn't talk about it because it bummed people out. You know what I mean? And the first time I came right out and said, all right, here it is. I like pain. I'm a masochist. It's almost like I was embarrassed. I don't know. It is what it is. My mom watched that video and it was so bummed out. It really upset her. You know, I felt bad about it. America 2021. I like the uplifting live streams. There's going to be a lot of that. One every morning is going to be a video like that. Can I tell you something funny? A lot of people don't like that. I get comments every day. This is not why I subscribe to your channel. I'm unsubscribing. Like every day. I got one this morning. Every single day I get it. It's funny. If I started this channel so I could get subscribers, I wouldn't be giggling at people leaving. But it is what it is. It doesn't bother me. You know what? I love when people do that. You know why? Because they're negative, and I don't want people like that following me. I really don't. And every day, but here's the thing: every single day, someone will say, "I like the uplifting live streams." That's important. I think being a positive influence on people is far more important than look what I can eat. Just being honest. Yucky, Rory. Yo, man, I've gotten to the point where I can comfortably handle Dave's ghost pepper sauce. Gross extract taste aside. Any recommendations? Do you mean recommendations for hotter? Yeah, get Hellfire, Doomed, or a Double Doomed rebooted. I think it's like 4 million Scoville. It's way, way, way higher than Dave's. So if you're looking, you said that you wanted recommendations. If you mean recommendations for hotter, that's where you need to go. Tell them Johnny sent you. It won't help, but just tell them Johnny sent you. Caroline, I love your shows. Thank you. You're sweet. I'm glad. Josh, not talking about politics and religion is why we're in such a dark spot now. Now, I'm never going to get into the politics. Never. Because it's a cesspool, and I just don't like it. But I'm not hiding from my spiritual beliefs anymore. I did that. I didn't hide, but I never talked about it. I'm a Christian. I don't care if somebody is. And I said that the other day. I said in one of the videos, I believe that Christ died for me. If you have a problem with that, I don't mind if you unsubscribe. I don't. It's not going to offend me. The fact that I just said that just now, 1 hour and 21 minutes in, someone will see that and unsubscribe. Look at the smile on my face. I swear to you, it doesn't bother me. The truth is, I don't want to push people away. I don't. But if negative people leave, talk about a good day. Honestly, it doesn't bother me in the slightest. But I'm never going to hide from my spiritual beliefs, ever. Never. Because I'm going to be standing in front of him one day. And I don't want to say, I'm sorry, I'm not embarrassed at all. And I'm not going to ever hide that. Dane, will Tommy be live this evening? Indeed, he will, and so will I. I'll be going an hour before him. So definitely look for that. Brock, Josh Cohen. So very true. Yep. There you go, Rory. Hellfire it is. Probably chill on the Double Doom for a while. It's brutal. There's a good dude. Busy track. Good to see you, buddy. Good man. Geeky Sea Art. Hellfire's Fiery Fool. It's pretty good. Yeah, it's not nearly as hot as the other stuff. That's a great sauce. With honey on chicken, it's pretty good. It's a great sauce. Lisa, I like the ghost pepper and mint toothpaste you once mentioned in a live. Not sure if I could handle a raw one. I use it every day. I have like 10 tubes that I brought with me. I don't know how they'll probably last a long time. 10 tubes. It's great stuff. Yucky Rory, do people ever mistake your intensity for negativity? I hope not. If they do that, I don't ever get that. I've never had anyone say that. I think you're probably one of the most positive people I've ever seen, and I can tell it comes from hardship, but I can imagine misunderstandings. It may, if it does, people just bounce and leave, But lately, I've been saying, if you don't like my message, so if they see that as negative, I can see how somebody would say, man, that's a negative thing to say. But here's the thing: I don't care. I want positive people around me. That's the truth. Josh says, I agree on the political thing, but our leaders are impotent. Leaders can be very destructive. They sure are. It's a fact. Anyone know? Hang on a second, Archie's mom. Anyone ever know what happened to the portable Scoville test or the chili pot? No, I don't know what's happened to it. I know there was one that you could buy, another digital one. I don't know how effective it is. You know what I say? Eat it. It's too hot. Get one that's not quite as hot. If it's not hot enough, there's hotter. Like a scale. I don't own a scale. I haven't owned a scale. I haven't stood on a scale. I can't remember. So the way I do it is if my clothes are too tight, I got to move around more. If my clothes are too loose, I got to eat more. But I don't own a scale. I don't care. You know what I mean? How I feel is what it's about. There you go, Yucky Rory. Let the truth filter him out. Yeah. I thought you meant impotent. Either way, it works, to be honest. But they are important, but they're also impotent. It's true. You know, here's the thing. The first couple of years I did this channel, I traveled around the world a couple times. I mean, I went all over the place, 7 or 8 different countries. It was really very cool. Every single country I went to, they said, "What's going on with Trump? Can I tell you something? Since I've been here longer than I ever went to any other country for a chili deal. No one has ever said to me, 'What do you think about Trump?'" Now, it might be because I don't speak Spanish, but I don't think it is, because I have a Spanish app, and even though I don't speak Spanish, I still communicate with people. I'll pull up the app, and I'll say in the app, and and I'm learning. But this is not a country where they're focused on junk like that. But it's awful. I hate the politics. It's the worst thing in the world. Okay, they still seem the chili pot. I saw a study, and it was a fair amount of, so I wouldn't trust it on Super Hot. Yeah, you know what? I think it's probably a gimmick. I don't know how accurate it would be. So. Sasquatch Hunter, good to see you, dude. Hey, Johnny and crew. Played a show last night. I have a show tonight and tomorrow. I'm playing Salmon Fest next weekend. Summer music, you guys. Salmon Fest. How cool would that be? I'm glad you stopped in. Listen, have fun tonight and tomorrow. Keep it up, man. Yeah, for growing, it would be accurate. But here's the thing. Everybody, it's the biggest lie. That's the part of the chili community that I hate, the deception. And it's all done for one reason, to make money. They lie about how hot a sauce is, how hot peppers are. Everybody's worried about how hot a pepper is. Golly, it's such a drag. Please do. I'd like to read about that. It's kind of cool. All right. We're going to wrap it up now. Man, I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. We'll be in tomorrow. I already have an idea for the show. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be fun. So please join me. Yucky Rory says that people in South America seem a lot more aligned with their spirituality than they are politics. And again, I'm basing this on being Mexican in Mexico one time and watching Alejandro Jodorowsky films. I've never seen any of those films. But I'll tell you what, here's what happens here. It seems like it's weird. It feels like, I would imagine, even though they don't speak English, I would imagine this is what America felt like in 1950. That nobody is worried about, I don't know, everybody smiles, everybody says hello. Dios te bendigo. Bendigo, it means God bless you. I hear that everywhere from everybody. Cab drivers, the guy at the cash register at the store. Everybody seems like they're not, they are not watching like CNN. They're not watching Fox. They are not watching Hollywood. They're not. They're just, this is just, it's a slower pace. It's just very, very different. Josh asked, do you plan on ever coming back to the U.S.? No. I'm kidding. Of course, yeah. I have kids there and family there, so I'll be back. It'll be a short visit. I'm just happier here. I'm a happier person here. I feel like I'm a better person here. That sounds crazy, but all right, guys, we're got to get out of here. This has been going on way too long. Man, I love you guys. Thank you. If you have any questions or comments, email me at chase@gmail.com. Say Friday. It is. Isn't that crazy? It's Friday. Didn't know that. Hold on. So you want to hear something funny? Listen to this. Ready for this? It's time to move on, Johnny. You gained fandom from eating chili peppers, not because of some therapy session that you're not qualified or able to convey. You had your time, bud, and you were the best at it. Move on. You think that troubles me? Do you? Not that much. Thank you guys for being here. I'll be here tomorrow. See you then. Smile. Somebody loves you. Johnny Scoville, and this was Chase the Heat, South America.